The best way to play Beetroopers isn't exactly what you think. Let me explain. So as of recently, as people have warmed up to the new cards in Master Duel, they've realized that in Beetroopers they can slap in adventures, and well, unsurprisingly, it's getting a lot of wins. So let's talk about this specific deck today. This is basically just a Beetrooper pile, including DPE. Now another note is that in generic Beetrooper decks, whether it's going to be an adventure pile, or if it's more on the pure side with just more insect, you're still running DPE. It is a very good card that you can make extremely easily if you're using cards that don't lock you into anything but insects. It's easily makeable with something like, let's say, an Assault Roller and a Goki Pole. It's a one-card combo using Almirage, etc. or vice versa. It's a good card to run regardless. Like, it's just a backdoor plan. If you don't have anything else to do, just make a DPE and wall up. Oftentimes, it actually works because it's just really goddamn annoying and people will go to lengths to get rid of it to the point where they can't OTK you. Otherwise, there's nothing else as important with this list. You run your basic Beetrooper stuff, but instead of the Battle Wasps, you run the Adventure Engine, of course. Very fun. You run your triple Resonance Insect, triple Goki Pole, triple Scale Bomber, triple Max C, your double Retaliating C. I normally like to run one of my pure decks, as well as two of the Sting Lancer, one Doom Dozer, one Mighty Neptune, and one Assault Roller. These things aren't seen often in this kind of Beetrooper deck, as well as 2 copies of Descent, 1 copy of Fly and Sting, and of course your 1 copy of Killing Needle, the best Beetrooper monster in the game. Also just the best monster in the game, period. It's a huge V with exceptional strength. How do you beat that shit? I don't know. That just seems a bit too intimidating, honestly. But getting back on topic, there's nothing else really to touch on this deck, other than I run Crossout, of course, because I hate when I get Nibiru'd or Impermed, so I can just say bye-bye to those possibilities. And we also run an Effect Veiler, and in the extra deck, there's nothing really important, just a Nightmare package, the access code, and if you would like to fit in an Appaloosa, go ahead, because the deck makes so many random tokens and stuff, that Appaloosa is really easy to make. You could just remove a Pikafalina in order to do so, since you're not really doing your Beetrooper shenanigans as much as you'd really like to run Pikafalina as a justified 2 of. That's pretty much it with this deck. However, I have one more thing to tell you, and that's I have another list. And this list is for the more casual or the more fun-oriented Beetrooper player. If you want to have fun and not necessarily win all the time, but at least have fun doing so, then stick around. And here is my pure, basically, Beetrooper build. It's very similar to the list I showed the other day, where I used it on EDO Pro, where we're running 3 copies of Pin the Bullseye, 3 copies of Sting the Poison, 2 copies of Goki Pole, 3 copies of the Scale Bomber, 3 copies of the Insect of Resonance, of course, 1 copy of Retaliating C. You could run this at 2 if you don't like adventures, since it counters that. It's a Macrocosmos, essentially. 1 copy of Arbalest, 1 copy of Assault Roller, 1 copy of the Mighty Neptune, 1 copy of Doom Dozer, 2 copies of Sting Lancer, only 1 copy of the Token Generator, and I do run the 1 copy of the Counter Trap. This is very similar, but we also do run some things that are unique to this deck. For example, Solemn Judgment. I think this deck sorely needs Spell Trap Negation. Solemn Strike, Solemn Judgment, whatever the hell it is, you need this card, because the deck hates macro. Harpy's Feather Duster getting rid of the Counter Trap really sucks because the Counter Trap only negates monsters. Dark Blue No More, literally anything else really sucks for the deck, so Solemn Judgment is at least something you could occasionally draw to remedy that. Otherwise, yeah, the addition of Neptune as well as the Assault Roller, while they are somewhat different compared to normal Beetrooper decks, they're still very good additions within the archetype. And finally, one last thing I need to add is about Scout Buggy, the Cicada King, as well as a Floodgate called Scary Moth. I have to actually add it over here. It's something that you could run. It's funny, but maybe you could omit it. So for example, let's talk about the Scout Buggy. It is a level 3 monster that can basically, on its normal special summon another copy of itself from the deck. Pretty damn nice. You play it at 2, sometimes 3. I've experimented with both. Both work. I don't really particularly mind, although I do like it at 3 sometimes. I like seeing it in my hand. And you can use this to either make your Beetrooper links like your Armor Horn, or you could, Exceed summon them with the Cicada King, which is a monster negate, basically, that can also, once it negates something, change its battle position, and therefore special summon an insect from the hand or graveyard, like a digital bug, essentially. If you Duel Links players know, you know. And part of that could also summon a Scary Moth, which is a weird floodgate that some Beetrooper players run. The Scary Moth is basically just El Shaddai Winda, where each player can only special summon a monster or monsters once per turn. Pretty funny. This could result in some funny wins where people just auto-scoop once they read this card. Otherwise, you could omit this, and you could also omit the cards Solemn Judgment and also Crosshat. However, the rest of this deck is pretty normal for pure Beetrooper stuff, but remember, play DPE because it's always a really good plan B, or rather plan D PE. Anyways, as always, I'll catch you guys later, and hopefully I got some more content like with Dinomorphia. I made a new alt, and I've been grinding on it pretty hard. Let's hope I get enough gems to do this. Peace.